looking for some high-octane gameplay, some rapid-fire death and destruction, then you're in the right place, brother.
Can't do that one for very long. Yeah, so rapid fire Deathblow. Let's get into it. But maybe before we do, we'll just take a second to calm down, like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, maybe. But yeah, I mean, this build is insane. And you're seeing it on screen right now. It allows you to just spam Deathblow to no end. Allows you to heal like a gazillion HP per second. And also overpower and crit with every single attack. Ooh, that's sexy. Let's find out how it all works, starting with the skill tree. And I will have to explain a bit more than I usually do with some of my videos because there is an awful lot going on here. And a huge shout out to one of the smexiest mofos on the planet, Beat Dropper. If you guys don't know him, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He is an absolute genius when it comes to the barb, and he is the one who nailed out all the details on this, so credit where credit is due. Love you, Beat. Now we're looking at the skill tree. The first thing to talk about is the use of Violent Hammer of the Ancients. We're going to be using this for a juicy 40% damage increase every 5 seconds when we overpower with Hammer of the Ancients. And with this build, like every single attack is going to be on an overpower. So all you have to do is weave this in and Bob's your uncle, big fat damage boost. Hooray! Then we have 1 point into pressure point. The reason that this is here is that we need it to proc the Decimator legendary paragon node. There's an issue with it at the moment where lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable on accessories as an affix, and also the exposed vulnerability passive are not proccing it. So we need some other form of vulnerability to get that bonus, and this is what we're opting for. Luckily for us, Deathblow has a very high lucky hit chance, meaning that this will be proccing frequently enough. Then moving down to the defensive node tree, we have, of course, Imposing Presence and Martial Figure. We have Tactical Iron Skin. This will give us a fat, juicy boost to our defensives. We get a barrier, a heal, an unstoppable, and damage reduction. So huge value coming from that one skill. We then also have Enhanced Challenging Shout, which will help with that tankiness as well. We are juicing our shout duration with Booming Voice, with 1 point into charge as well on this part of the tree. This helps with mobility, but also is another form of unstoppable. We have then finally in this part the Aggressive Resistance and Prolific Fury passives for both damage reduction and resource regen. Pit Fighter for a bit of DR and for some damage. We're going into Warrior's Deathblow. This will give us a permanent source of berserking, and we have of course also gone mad into Deathblow for maximum damage. Counter offensive finally in this node, which gives us another little damage multi while we're fortified. Call of the Ancients is really shining this season. Very, very powerful ultimate. I think a lot of people might be sleeping on it, but this is popping off. Huge damage, great bonuses to the character itself. You get 20% attack speed and 25% increased damage. And we are using a unique which makes this even better, which I'll talk about when we get to the gear. We've gone into every single passive that boosts damage with two-handers and while overpowering. And then moving on to the keystone, or the linchpin of this build, Invigorating Fury. And the reason this is so important is because it's how this build works. What we're going to be doing is we're going to use as much fury per second as we can. We're just going to juice our fury cost, and you can see this with the choice of Unbridled Rage here, because of course Deathblow is converted to a core skill in this build. So we are going to spend as much fury as we can and convert that into healing through Invigorating Fury, and then convert that healing back into fury through the Starlight aspect. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty coming up next as we go through the gear. So as I was saying, Starlight aspect, this is the one. It's been changed or fixed or whatever way you want to look at it so that it now does what it says it does. We can gain up to 40 primary resource Fury for every 20% life that we heal. And we have gone mad into Fury cost increasing. Everything in this build increases the cost of Deathblow, which now costs Fury because we're using the third blade, which converts it into a core skill and gives it a Fury cost. But yes, this is the all inner workings of it, and you'll see that in this build, we are opting for a ton of stats that improve our ability to heal and spend Fury. Speaking of spending Fury, we have Crown of Lucian. I think a item that most people had written off after the nerf, but for this build, it is chef's kiss. We get that big, fat, sexy damage boost, as well as ramping up our Fury cost to like 150% more. Then for our chest, some interesting picks for this build specifically is healing received plus a temper for invigorating Fury. Again, healing very, very important. We've even gone for Enduring Faith because this will allow us to get healing received on a pair of gloves, but also a fantastic one-shot negator, so we're not going to get deleted off the screen by a boss if we do mess up. Then the pants, this is one thing that I really wanted to talk about, Errant's Bearing. When I said we are using Kota with a specific unique, this is the one that I was talking about. And the reason is, not only does it have an absolutely insane amount of resist all on it, it has cooldown reduction for Call of the Ancients. And if you masterwork this, if you GA it as well, you can get the cooldown on Call to the Ancients down to basically nothing and keep the ultimate up permanently, which is wild because this does so much damage as an ult. It really is doing tons of work, and it gives you a lot of awesome bonuses as well. It's CC, it's Fury, it's attack speed, it's damage, it's everything you could possibly want. Then with our next unique, we are using Yen's Blessings. This also comes with resistance to all elements, so between those two, we will be resistance cap, which is pretty nice. Then as far as the unique power on this one goes, it'll be casting either your Challenging Shout or your Iron Skin, depending on which one is on cooldown every 8 seconds. And the next item, and quite naturally for a
Deathblow build, is overkill.
because it has, you know, ranks to Deathblow and a really good unique effect for the build too. But yeah, I mean, this is going to giga juice your damage and make you hit like an absolute madman. Encroaching Wrath is also an aspect that just has like insane value here. What it does is it increases the damage of your next weapon mastery skill, i.e. Deathblow, by 70% when you spend 100 Fury, and we're spending 100 Fury every time we Deathblow, so, you know, it's just permanently on. Nice, done. And as for a quick note on the tempers here, you need to hit this damage while berserking. This is really important because this is going to help you cap out your Blood Rage node, which is a multiplicative damage source. You definitely need this. And we've got a rank of pressure point on here because it alleviates that pressure to have it in the skill tree. Of course, we have the third blade. This is what makes Deathblow a core skill, lets us do what we're doing and cast it as many times as we want. Then moving on, we have a Grandfather recommended. This obviously is an insane DPS boost, but not necessary to get the build to work. You absolutely can get away with not having it, and we will have some recommendations as to what to use in the build planner if you don't have this uber unique. Then we have the Ring of Red Fura. Again, just something that works way too good with this build. Every time you spend 100 Fury, you get a guaranteed crit on Deathblow or Hammer of the Ancients, and it increases the damage by 40%. What? But yeah, I mean, obviously that's very synergistic with this build. Then as for tempers on the ring, damage while berserking again is a must. We've got resource regen here as well. And then the final piece of the puzzle is the bacon, lettuce, and tomato. And this is going to give us a overpower every time we spend 275 Fury, which will be most of the time. And it even juices the damage by a further 60%. Then for the gems, you want reds across the board, and then you will need skulls in the accessories because getting armor cap with this build will be a little bit difficult if you don't. As for the technique, we are of course using the two-handed axe technique for the damage multiplier against vulnerable enemies. And now lastly, let's break down the paragon board. In the first starter board, we have Aya for the damage while berserking, as well as the additional damage reduction while we're berserking, which will be all of the time. Then in the second board, which is Carnage, we have picked up Carnage for the ramping damage, which allows us to hit harder and hit faster. Then in the glyph itself, we have Might for the damage multiplier when wielding a two-handed weapon. And if it wasn't already obvious, we are going to be setting Deathblow to use the two-handed bludgeoning weapon, just FYI. Then Blood Rage over here, as I said, you want this capped at 30%. Yes, you do. If you are having issues, if your gear has rolled a little bit dookie poo-poos, you can remove some of the health up here into the nodes here on the left, or you can even remove these as well, down and put them into the Carnage board to get extra berserking damage. But you ideally don't want to do that because the Barb is pretty squishy this season. Then on the Warbringer board, we have Wrathman here. Great little bonus to damage because we have the crit being scaled up by Grandfather, but also its additional Fury regen, which is very, very valuable for this build. We've gone for all of the extra Fury and life here on the right and into the Warbringer node itself, as this is our source of Fortify, which is very important for both overpowered damage and damage reduction. Then we've got all of the Fury on kill and the Max Fury up there too. On the Bonebreaker board, we have Crusher for a big, fat, lovely, delicious damage boost to overpower hits with a two-handed mace or with a mace equipped. Then finally, the last board is that Decimator node. Like I said, it's a little bit bugged out at the moment, but it will work as long as you have Pressure Point. And then in here, we have Dominate for another big boost to overpowered damage. And that there, ladies and gentlebarbs, is the build. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give the video a little likey. And if you don't want to miss the best, the most delicious barb builds, make sure you subscribe to the channel too. Go on, treat yourself. But anyways, until next time, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, and don't tell the other viewers, but you're my favorite, all right? Stay handsome.